anybody know much about the history of Vauxhall Pleasure Gardens before they came here tonight?
Glenn knows.
Well, obviously Glenn does.
Do you?
Gosh, so we've all
A
been
little
in.
bit.
Has anyone actually been to Vauxhall Pleasure Garden, the actual modern day That's pathetic. It is literally behind this wall, and it's a lovely park. Not as exciting as it once was, but very.
Did it really look like that?
I'm sorry?
Did it really look like that?
Yes, and he's going to tell us
It
about
really
that.
did look like that. If
Yeah.
you were when you were looking at the sort of rather the pictures of the kind of the yellow walkways and the little buildings, if you were just literally to smash through that, well, not smash through it, but go that way and then go back 3.5 centuries, that's what you would see. You will see these buildings and all the walkways, the Italian walkway with the arches, just stretching away from you into the distance. And twice the size that park is now, even more than twice, maybe 3 times. A lot of it was plantation, and beyond that was nothing but countryside and orchards, no buildings.
You've skipped ahead a lot, but that's okay.
Yep.
but it is also still a very lovely park, and it is just there. And it's got a city farm. Vauxhall City Farm is there, so we've still got some.
They have llamas, yes.
They
They have llamas. Beautiful goats. They're wonderful. And goats,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. And llamas. Okay, anybody been in a duel? Just checking. Somebody raised their hand.
Joking. I was joking.
No, okay. Anybody for whom this is the first visit to Above the Stag? Wow, welcome.
Yay.
Anybody for whom this is the first visit to the theatre post what we've all been through? Good. That means you're all serious theatre goers. I like it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started. I'm Terri. I've introduced you sort of to Glenn. Let me introduce you to everyone else. Fenton Gray directed this wonderful production.
Ashley Harvey.
I know who you are.
Sorry.
I'm introducing
I'm really bad with names. I wanted to avoid any awkwardness, and I was.
Well done, babe.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
But I might get some pronunciations wrong, but Harvey I wasn't going to get wrong, probably. But Aaron Clingham,
Yes.
Musical director, so he was behind there. Jonathan Harlaw,
That's right.
Glenn Chandler. Benjamin Wong, or do you prefer B? B or
Oh,
Benjamin?
well, now I'm Benjamin.
Okay. Andy Burnham, no.
Take it.
You're going to take
I'm
it?
going to take it for the rest of my life. That's great.
Okay, now, Jay Worley.
Yes, that's the rest.
Jay Worley, the very big star of the evening, is not in the program. Millie Blair. Millie
Yes.
Blair. Well done,
Yeah.
Millie. Sam Baumal.
Yeah, Baumal, yeah.
But Mark, close enough. Steve Watts. Steve Watts, I know. And yes, so you recognize all of them. Well done, everybody. That was really, really great. I'm going to start with Glenn, though. Glenn has told us a little bit about the actual history of Vauxhall Pleasure Gardens, but Glenn, just take us back to your own personal history with this show. What was where did you suddenly, were you just sitting out there one day and thought, let's have a musical about this?
It was under discussion in the bar about 3.5 years ago. We were all talking about the pleasure gardens at the back there, and wouldn't it be a good idea for a musical, as we were right on the spot. Can't remember where it came from. But, it just stated, and I thought, pleasure gardens were right. It's Site Pacific. That was a musical. It was South Pacific. it was site specific.
Yeah.
So they couldn't have done this in the King's Head at Islington.
Yeah.
It had to be here. So I started researching the history, and I thought with all the different classes and people who mingled here, there had to be some good stories to interweave. And I gave it to Charles, who had worked with me on 2 previous musicals, and he loved it. So I said, well, let's get going with it.
Yeah.
And it was 3, and then it's been about 3 years in gestation,
Yeah.
and then just as soon as the last lockdown ended, it started to come on, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it before something else horrible happens.
Yes.
And this is what you see.
Indeed.
Yep.
And so, Glenn, you had the ideas you just described. You wrote the book and the lyrics.
Yes.
Charles Miller wrote the beautiful music.
He can't be here, sadly. He's,
Sadly not, but we have Fenton Gray,
Fenton.
who directed it. And so, Fenton, at what point then did you get involved in this project, and what attracted you to it?
Well, I got involved around about April, I think, when I was brought on board. Obviously, the piece attracted me immediately. I've already worked with Charles Miller, the composer. for the last 25 years on a lot of his original musicals. So I've already worked as like a dramaturg, developing the piece before we get into rehearsal. And I hadn't worked with Glenn before. I mean, working with Glenn's been an absolute joy. To have that sort of material as a starting point was fantastic. So, and because we only had 2.5 weeks rehearsal, we had to make sure that this show was ready to go. So we spent a lot of time, me, Charles and Glenn, working on the piece in isolation, really. We had one read-through, sing-through at Above the Stag round about July, and that increased the intensity of our work. So once we heard the actors sing it and speak the dialogue, then there were quite a lot of issues not issues, but there were things that we suddenly know, yeah, okay, that's where we need to go with it. And we worked as a team, really. So Charles and Glenn had worked very much together up to that point, and then I was brought in as like the third eye, and I had the vision of how it would all come together, and that was it.
Yeah. And Glenn, so when we've done Q&As together before, those were for your plays. You write a lot of plays as well as lots of other things that people will know you for. But what do you find? What is it that makes you decide, actually, I want to make it a musical rather than a play?
Well, I don't know. I think because Charles and I had worked on 2 musicals, both Victorian, and we kind of thought 3 is a trilogy.
Yeah.
So we've got to make, and I couldn't have done this as a straight drama. It would have ended up like a BBC costume drama, Vanity Fair, or Bridgerton, or something like that.
Yeah.
And songs came to mind as I was sort of working on it, like When the Lights Go Off at Vauxhall. That was the first one that ever came to mind.
Yeah.
So lights going off at Vauxhall. Come on, there's a song there.
Yeah.
Let's make it a big production number, and it all happened from there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Let me bring Aaron in then. It's, I love it when I've got musical directors on the stage. I know this is a really basic question, but go on. Tell us, in case we don't know, what does a musical director do?
But basically, the musical director is responsible for anything that you hear. So the singing, in my case, I also wrote the orchestrations for the show. Some of the band parts and things I wrote as well. So it's basically anything that you hear in a musical. Singing, band, that sort of thing, basically.
Okay. And were you excited by the music?
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely love the music. I mean, I also worked on Charles and Glenn's other 2 musicals.
So that's Fanny and Stella.
Yeah, I've done all productions of Fanny and Stella, all 3 of them, I think, and The Sins of Jack Saul. So it was nice to be able to come back to this again with the team, which is lovely.
Very nice. Okay. Okay, I hope you guys are getting warmed up, because I'm going to ask the cast some questions, and then I'm going to look for hands in the audience, please. So, first of all, well done again to you, Millie.
Thank you.
Just tell us, so Fenton kind of made an introduction at the beginning of the performance and gave us a hint of just how terrifying today must have been for you. But talk us through what happened. Because for people who might not know, I mean, because this is a very high production value for an off-West End show. Yeah. But most off-West End shows don't have understudies. Mm-hmm. So Jennie Jacobs, who plays Captain Antrobus, I guess she doesn't. We're going to come to you. We're going to come to you. I know, we've got a history going on. But yes, there wasn't an understudy for this role. You weren't the understudy officially. No. So how did you actually get involved?
So I'm currently training at the London School of Musical Theatre, and I got up at about 6:45 this morning expecting to have a day at college. And then about 9 o'clock I got a call saying, Fenton and Charles would really like you to go on for Captain Antrobus tonight, if that's okay, because Jennie's fallen ill. And I thought, oh my God, am I really going to be making my professional debut today? And it obviously didn't take much deliberation. I was like, of course, jump at the opportunity. I mean,
but you had seen the show.
I've seen the show, so I have a very brief history with the show. So I came to the very first preview with a bunch of people from LSMT and loved it. And then I also came to the gala night as well, because myself and Fenton have worked together in the past. Fenton was our choir master in our first term at drama school, and Charles is our head of music. Amazing. So I already know the both of them quite well. And then, yeah, a week later, here I am. I've been here every Wednesday for the past 3 weeks.
Well, Wednesday is your lucky day.
It's a really lovely day.
I love Wednesdays.
But can I just say, I phoned Millie up in the morning, and there was absolutely no question. She said, "Yep, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And it was like we contemplated cancelling tonight and getting Millie ready for tomorrow. But Millie said, "No, I'll go on tonight." Absolutely incredible.
No, not really.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe that's just complete stupidity on my part, but...
No, mate, not after tonight, you smashed it.
You did
Thank
smash
you.
it. You did smash it. So, clearly tonight was your debut, but we actually have several people who've made their debuts in this production. Who else? Only you, and you saw it. So, and Ashley. So these guys are all like straight out of training, pretty much, right? And Ashley, very accomplished South African performer. So you've done a lot in South Africa.
Yeah.
But this represents your UK stage debut. Well done. So
Thank you.
can we just have a little round of applause for all of you? And then I said a moment ago that this production doesn't have understudy, or most off-Western productions don't have understudy. That's not quite true, is it, Jonathan? Tell us why you know this intimately.
So my name is Jonathan, and I'm the understudy of this production.
So it didn't really work for you doing Captain Antrobus very well, maybe?
Yeah, my job is, this is actually my job. It's not like Millie where you get called up without actually having ever done this. They pay me to know the script, to cover Tom, Ralph, and the princess, should anything go wrong, and then I'm also on stage in the show normally. And yes, on Monday 2 weeks ago, on our first dress run, Worley was a bit under the weather. So 45 minutes before the first dress run, Fenton comes up to me and says, "You're going on." And that was that. It's like, it'll just be for tonight. It's like, okay, you're doing the second dress run on Tuesday. Okay, you're doing the first 2 previews. And I ended up doing the first 5 previews, having never rehearsed the part once. So
Wow, well done.
that's the job of an understudy.
Yay!
And as you said in your Facebook post, nothing in drama school ever.
No.
Maybe you should all just kind of like swap parts regularly.
talking
We
about
have been talking about this for the last show of the entire event.
Keeps everything fresh.
Fenton, we won't be, we
Princess
promise.
and Bane can play more.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so actually, let's have a quick round. Who would you play if you had to play another role? Ashley.
Oh my word. I would play Rory's part. I would play my husband.
Nice, I like it. Steve, who would you play?
Lovelock,
You already
yeah.
played so many roles.
Yeah, exactly. I'm running out of. But I would say the same. I'm going to play
Rory's
part. I
part,
think
yeah.
Lord Lovelock. I think for me.
That is a good one.
Yeah, I'd like to give musical director a go. I think it would be a very different show, but worthwhile having a try.
Yes. I'm going to complete the trio. I'd love to play Lord Lovelock. I think it's an absolutely incredible part. Oh my god, yeah.
You're all
But
gunning
Rory
for
does it
a
so
great
well
part.
as well.
He
It's
does.
just he lives
It's like an
that.
Agatha Christie.
And
Yeah.
and Ben.
With the death.
I would love to play Tom. I love that innocence. I love that unassummingness.
What a shame you don't have the innocence.
Okay, right. So I'm really hogging the questions. Any hands? I'm looking for hands. Are you all going to be shy? Or are you going to ask something? Nigel. Yeah, go on. What's your question?
Firstly, thank you all very much. It was a fantastic, fantastic show. I think it was fantastic, and I love the history. So my question was around just the how does a musical come together? Is it? I know you sort of talking about the beginning of it, but is it lyrics? Do you write the lyrics and then the music comes next, and then or does the cast have a show? A part in it? How does it gestate?
It comes piecemeal, really, Nigel. I mean, I start with lyrics. I start with the story and then basic lyrics, where I think I could. For instance, as I said, when the lights go off at Vauxhall came to me, yeah, got to be a song there. I'm working through it, and it's complicated. Was the next one that came to me. I thought, fine, okay, I've got a princess who's really a man, and a soldier who's really a woman. Supposing they have a song together, it's complicated. It's complicated. There's a good title for a song, and that one came, and then fight, the Crimean War was pretty obvious. We need a marching song here, fight, and it just seemed the story and the period just seemed to lend itself to so many so many sort of different kinds of songs. So it happens that way, and then the lyrics build and the story builds, and then Charles comes on board with the music. And I've usually got music in my head when I'm writing lyrics. I've always got a tune. And Charles would say, I might go down to see Charles, and I'll start humming. He'll say, stop humming that tune, because that's what's come out of me. He doesn't want to be. And what I've got inside me is usually rubbish, and he comes out with something which is. So it does happen. Just builds piecemeal like that.
And with a new musical, I mean, it's an oft-repeated thing. Is it Sondheim famously said it? Somebody else will know, but that a new musical isn't written; it's rewritten. Do you find that? And did once you get into the rehearsal room and working with Fenton, did it change at all?
Well, everything is rewritten. I mean, even with a straight drama, even a play, you're constantly rewriting it.
Yeah.
Rewriting it in rehearsal, and then you do it again another time. Like do some play in Edinburgh and bring it down here. You're rewriting it again.
Yeah.
So it's not just musicals that get rewritten; it's plays as well.
Yeah.
This has been in the rehearsal room. It's been ebbing and flowing and changing, even with us. I think there's been things that we would suggest. There's been things that come out from Fenton directly, or from Glenn or Charles.
It's like that time you told me one of my lines was rubbish.
Yeah.
I did do it already. I wouldn't dare.
He's a holy man. I would never ever do that.
He said to me, Glenn, that line's rubbish. Can I change it? I said, he did. I would never. And I said, you go ahead and change it. And he did, and it was much better than my line.
What's the line? What's the line?
And I love Ashley when she goes up the staircase and she said, shall we go and watch somebody on the high wire?
She sets herself on fire.
That was Ashley's line.
Yeah, I made it.
So you see, so
well done, Ashley.
It's interesting talking about changes. I would still be making changes if I could, but the management have stopped me.
Well, 2.5 weeks is a crazy short period of time to rehearse a show that is so big and complex.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah, like actors, Millie aside. What's that like? You know, are you feeling like you're running on the seat of your pants for 2.5 weeks trying to
It's
learn
odd
everything?
to say it wasn't. It actually was one of the most smooth processes that I think I've possibly ever been a part of. It was, and I think it would probably be.
But this is your first show.
But kind of. I think I've done things back in Wales as well. So this is my London debut. But however, the cast, I think it come out of lockdown. I think the fact that this is one of our first productions that we've done probably is collectively out of lockdown. Everybody was on it.
Yeah.
So it really felt like when we were doing the rehearsal process, it went really smoothly. And I think we all turned to each other at one point and just went, when is it going to go wrong?
Yeah.
When is this going to actually... And it actually did...
Second dress rehearsal.
Second dress rehearsal. I apologise profusely.
Jay, funny you should mention that.
I know. Obviously it was, that. But the rehearsal process itself, you know, it was a gorgeous rehearsal process. Everybody just complimented each other so much.
I second that, and I think it was something in the first sort of week, or maybe first week and a half, we were just blistering through. We were really worried, I think, about being able to finish it all in time, and it turned out we were so worried that we finished it all quite quickly. And then we didn't have to worry too much about it because we'd gone through everything.
So what did you do after that? You just
Well, there was more to be done. As I'm sure Fenton was
re-detailing that, basically.
No, there was more to be done, but it was sort of a point that we'd sort of got a general shape of the whole thing, I think, potentially earlier than we were even expecting to. I don't know, Fenton, if that's sort of true from your perspective, but we were finishing sort of quite early, sort of getting those shapes down, so it was nice from my perspective, feeling like we weren't sort of like, oh yeah, we've never done that scene, we need to do that now. We kind of looked at everything, and we had time to let that settle.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, my with a new piece, especially with 2.5 weeks rehearsal, my thing is chuck it on, get the scene on, bang, 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 half an hour on this, half an hour on that, and then once the actors know what they're doing from the beginning to the end, then they suddenly feel confident enough to start growing in the thing. It's very easy to spend an hour discussing a scene, improvising, whatever a lot of directors do, but my thing, particularly with a short period of rehearsal time, is just get it on, and then you do a run and suddenly you see which bits need work on, which bits you can let rest. And that's, in my vision, how to get a show on quickly. I don't know what I'd do with 6 weeks rehearsal.
Yeah, too much of a luxury. And Benjamin, you were going to say?
I mean, I was, what's great about this company is that everybody was so open during the rehearsal process, and we were, I think we actually enjoyed being on the edge, and Fenton keeps saying, Fenton even gave us changes like 20 minutes before getting on, And that is great. I love it. I mean, this is live theater, and we are always doing something new. And when we get to the part where it's changed, we live it and we feel what's different. And when we get off stage, we go, oh, that worked. And I just love that.
It was a room of yes sayers. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Everybody just said yes. And I think that was what
I just love this company.
Oh, that's so nice. Okay, are there other hands? Any? Yes, right here.
I have a question for the princess. You make such an extraordinarily convincing woman. I was just wondering whether that's something that you do as a. Do you play women often, or is that the first time, or?
Oh, well, I've played a drag before, but the name Bea actually was created during this show. So no, it's not what I do all the time.
But you are playing
the princess, yes.
No,
that's
next.
Oh, what's next?
Next, I'm playing Mary Sunshine in Chicago next. Yeah.
Oh wow, great!
And but I've always been fascinated by that voice, and I've been trained in that voice as a countertenor, and in operas also. So yeah, I think this was a great role for me to step into, and really pull it apart and to find three-dimensionality in a character like Princess. Yeah.
Good question. Was there another hand in the back? Anyone? So I also wanted to congratulate everybody, because I think today, in addition to celebrating Millie's success, you are celebrating some award nominations.
Oh,
Yay! 7 Offie Award nominations, and they are for Glenn.
They're for set design, costume design, director, musicals, musical director, video design, George Reeve, who is not here tonight. Ensemble, the whole cast.
Everybody.
And Charles and I for Best New Musical.
So basically,
have I missed anybody out?
So basically, you're nominated for like everything you could possibly be nominated. Amazing. So then that gives us a chance, Fenton, to shout out some more of the production credits, because the video design in particular, I was going to say anyway, but just incredible.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, was that always part of your vision?
It was always, yes. I found out that the venue had a video wall, so as soon as I knew that, I went to David, the set designer, and I said, we've got to use this video wall. And I said to Andy, who's up there, the production manager, we need some. And I was quite happy to do some naffing on my laptop, but no. Andy said, we've got to bring in the best we can. And he brought in George Reeve, who has worked on Frozen, on Les Miserables, the latest version of that. And he brought together the lighting design, the set design, and just complemented it so beautifully with these amazing animations. I mean, in my wildest dreams, I couldn't imagine it would be as good as it has turned out to be.
It is
and that's just like complemented all the other elements of the design. And, he's wonderful to work with, I tell you.
Yeah. Okay, I have a couple of questions I want to end on. One, because actually everybody on the stage needs to think of how they're going to respond to the final question, which is, this show, for me, it really celebrates Vauxhall. This, the Pleasure Gardens, obviously, but just this area of London. So I want you to tell people, what you love best about Vauxhall, the Pleasure Gardens, or anything that you'd recommend that you've discovered locally. But first, I also want to say the history, the interesting history of that Glenn so often uncovers. It just fascinates me. One of the shows we have previously done at Post-Show Q&A for was The Good Scout, in which he also discovered a fascinating, overlooked bit of history. So in addition to the Pleasure Garden, I was fascinated by hermits. Hermits, and you had a line in it about the fact that everybody had a hermit back then. Is that true, Steve?
Well, yeah, I've learned this from Glenn.
It was true. Every big stately home wanted to have a hermit. It was like sort of little badge of honour.
So he
in a
actually
sense.
was paid the hermit.
Yes.
Well, for here, yeah, but yeah.
Well, they wouldn't necessarily be paid hermit. The Dukes of Devonshire, I believe, did have a hermit.
Yeah.
I mean, if a hermit just wanted to set up in a cave on their grounds in a religious discipline, fine, let him go ahead. It was kind of a badge of honour. We always got a hermit, you know. So it is
sort of
definitely
funny.
true.
And the guests
was-
can walk by and say, "Oh, look, darling, there's the hermit. Isn't he?
There's the
Isn't he
hermit."
very quaint?"
Yeah.
And it would be a-
But the hermit in the gardens, in the real Vauxhall Pleasure
So there really was a hermit there.
was a kind of a paid employee, and children would come and poke him with sticks.
Yes.
And throw stones at him, you know.
That's wonderful.
Oh, everything actually existed. The bird impersonator, up the tree, Mr. Green's hot air balloon.
Yeah.
That existed. Mr. Green nearly had an accident. The balloon came down in one of the Vauxhall streets and nearly killed everybody.
Oh my goodness!
Yes.
Wow.
But what I liked about the role is that whatever was on the page, it felt that during rehearsal it developed a bit more into the guy who sort of pulls the strings. You kind of he's running the show in a way, and then we have that link with the same character in modern time in the homeless guy. That's what felt there was a bit of a gift. That did you always intend him to be that much part of the fabric of the whole thing?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Oh, you did, Steve.
Well, yeah, no, I just felt that
No, I did.
it felt like
I
it's sort
did.
of deeper and what's that
I
something
did very
happened
much.
in
I
rehearsal.
did very much. Yeah.
And the modern references. What are you saying there, Glenn? Is there a lot? Is there a construction site there at the moment? I
Yeah,
can't
well,
think.
there was. I mean, I haven't seen so many lately, but actually, when I go back about like 5 or 6 years to the old above the Stag, along the not the original but the old one along the archways, they were forever pulling buildings down. Every time you went there was a building up. Oh God, that went up yesterday, you know. So yes, there were an awful lot of it. And there's still construction. You see these buildings going up.
Yeah.
So
Got to look around. That literally you walk outside, look to the left hand side, there's buildings going up left, right, and
Yeah,
centre.
so it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
It's what, I mean, Vauxhall in 20, 30 years' time will probably look totally unrecognisable to now.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody going through Vauxhall 30 years ago would know the place now.
Yeah.
At all.
Okay, company. What have you discovered about Vauxhall? Does anyone live around here, by the way, on stage with me?
Jenny, who's
Jenny.
Where's Captain Antrobus?
Oh no! Where do you live? Now?
I live in Elephant and Castle.
Yeah, me
so
too. Well, by the Imperial War Museum. So I walk,
fabulous.
walk here a lot. Okay, so what have you guys discovered about Vauxhall? What are your top Vauxhall tips? Who wants to go first? Fenton.
Dirty burger.
The dirty burger.
Dirty burger down the
And the
road.
urinal that says, it's got wonderful things, it's a very public urinal.
yeah.
Images, that's my favourite.
Okay. Ashley, what have you discovered?
I mean, so for me, I've only been in the country for 2 years, so I didn't even know it existed until like 6 months ago. Not even 3 months ago. So it's just great to be here, and it's great to be in this venue, and it's a very open space for different kinds of people, and there's a lot going on. There's music down by the train station at the weekends, which is amazing. So yeah, it's cool. It's a cool place.
Aaron, what do you love about Vauxhall?
I don't really like Vauxhall.
Oh, right.
But I do love the Above the Stag Theatre. I love this place. Very much so.
You are the best. I'm so honest. I love you.
I bet you live north of the river.
I live in Walthamstow, yes. But I love this theatre. It's my 17th show for this theatre.
Wow.
So
It's a great
I love
theatre.
it.
I think you should move closer.
I don't like Vauxhall.
Jonathan, are you going to be so controversial?
Oh no, it's a lovely area. We don't actually get to leave the theatre all that much, so we haven't done much exploring. On my first audition, though, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a really lovely tiny Italian deli if you kind of head in that kind of southwesterly direction. It's amidst like a lot of terraced houses, but I had a really lovely cake and a sandwich there.
I have to say,
Would recommend.
this is a disappointing result for a final
Well, Vauxhall Tavern,
I'm going to have to
don't
take
forget.
you around Vauxhall, you guys.
Yes,
Come
please.
on. So, yeah, because it's lovely. Especially you need to go contemplate stuff in the pleasure gardens. It's
Yeah.
such a nice park. Glenn, so set them right.
It's kind of all life is here. All life is here.
Yeah.
And all life was there in Vauxhall then. It's all here now. We've got the favourite part, the zoo. I love the zoo.
Yeah.
And it was a different kind of zoo. I was very late at night driving back, and it was about 12 o'clock at night here. The club, there were sort of doors had opened around here. People pouring into clubs that I never knew existed, and they looked very suspicious and shit. And there's a big Portuguese community here as well that I wasn't aware of, and they own the deli that that's the deli that the one that I can't get on in. There's a deli that terrifies me. I'm no good in delis because they expect you to order very fast and to know exactly what you want and not be gentlemanly, and I always fall. They always shout at me, and I end up in tears.
Very good. Okay. I'm not going to put everybody else under pressure, but anything else you want to say about Vauxhall or what you're going to do next, Millie?
Oh, I mean, I've still got half a year of training left, so I don't finish my course until February next year. So hopefully, once that is all done, I'll be out into the big bad world and be doing my thing. But I don't live too far away, but I don't actually know Vauxhall that well. There's a massive Sainsbury's down the road, which is amazing. I've got some great homeware in there,
So
I'm
good.
not gonna lie. But yeah, Vauxhall has not been a familiar place for me since I moved.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got one about Vauxhall.
Oh right.
But
okay.
it is quite. No,
Same
it's
for
not
you.
like it because it is quite limited because you can tell. In a second, you'll understand what I mean. It's between here and the station. There's a really nice thing that if you look up, there's a building that has like a red sort of neon kind of ring around it.
Yeah.
And then if you get it at just the right moment, all the traffic lights that you can see from the angle. Try it as you go because it will be nice now. All the traffic lights that are facing you go red, and because it's a huge crossing. There's about 15 or 16 of them. So you've got this all these red traffic lights facing you, and then this red hue on the building, and it's just quite beautiful in a strange sort of modern way. And I sometimes, if I catch it just the right time as I'm going to the station, it's really nice just to stop for 5 seconds and watch all the sort of lights go. They all go red, and then there's this red hue, and it's beautiful. Anyway, so it's a little bit weird, but it's nice. Okay, but it is.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, they do. You have to
The
catch
lights
them.
go off in Vauxhall.
Well, indeed,
Yeah.
They get the lights go green at Vauxhall eventually.
Yeah.
But you have to catch them right time. Sometimes half of them are green, but if you get them all at red, it's a lovely sort of visage.
Oh,
But again, it's just between here and the station, which shows you my experience of.
There's a song in there.
There's
When the lights go green.
okay, well, so last word then to both of you, but you've said quite a lot there. But I love that you two are have both made your debuts, and you have this beautiful relationship, the two characters. How has it been? How do you feel coming out into the world in this industry, in this profession at this time in our strange world?
Probably because Sam and I have had extensive conversations about this sort of stuff. I think we both sort of totally agree that we're blessed to be doing this, and that we've come out of a pandemic and a world-changing event, and then to be contemplating not doing this job, contemplating going into doing other different bits and pieces, but continuing on, then having the wonderful opportunity to audition in front of Fenton, in front of Aaron, in front of Glenn, in front of Charles, and Carol Todd, who's our choreographer as well. And to be doing this now is, I couldn't think of anything better to be doing right now, honestly, personally. This cast, as Ben has already said, this cast is wonderful. This show is surprised, I think, even me. Reading it for the first time, I was like, this is going to be fantastic. Then doing it, I've been like, holy, it's absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's been absolutely phenomenal. And to get to actually, even though we've graduated, and saying that with Jonathan as well, we graduated from the same place, the Royal Academy of Music, we haven't actually worked together before until now. And this guy makes it very, very easy to be acting opposite the case on stage. So honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure to be a part of.
Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, lovely. Okay, so Glenn, remind us, this is booking here until the Pleasure Gardens?
17th of October.
And then
It's
plans beyond that?
3 more whole weeks.
3 minutes. That's going to go very fast. That's just
it
slightly
is,
longer than a
yes.
rehearsal period.
Well, we're not halfway through the run yet. So.
And any plans,
that's
do you think,
always
to
a nice
take it
feeling.
further?
I know nothing.
There are always plans.
There are always plans. Okay, so audience, you now are our ambassadors for the show. Will you go out and tell people to get their skates on, get to Vauxhall for all of its glories until before the zoning motion? Yes, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, what I'm going to do is say, for those of you who've got smartphones with cameras, will you take a photo and share it to your friends and tell them to come see the show, please? Thank you. And then join me, please, in thanking, and wait till I say everybody, and then give a big clap to Fenton and Ashley and Aaron and Jonathan and Glenn and Ben and Andy, no, Jay, and Millie, and Sam, and Steve. Thank you.